Howdy folks, my name's Jeffrey Lehman. This week we're in Kanab, Utah, or Little Hollywood, and I hope you'll stay with us as we discover travel's best secrets here on Weekend Explore. We will start in Basel, Switzerland at its art museum, then float downriver with some locals, and finally explore the Old Town district. Next, we head to the ancient walled city of Chow Jie, China to see its famous bridge and learn about its important porcelain history. Finally, in Kanab, Utah, we explore old movie sets, learn about some unique souvenirs, before hiking a slot canyon and coral pink sand dunes. Basel sits in the north of Switzerland on the border with Germany and France. Hotel Wettstein, our accommodations, is centrally located walking distance from many of Basel's best attractions and just down the street from Basel's tallest building. While I took a short walk, my friend and traveling partner Tiffany helped herself to breakfast. As with many hotels in Switzerland, breakfast is included. The breakfast spread was filled with a wide selection of Swiss cheese, as well as local fruits and much more. The alfresco patio is a popular place to eat, especially due to the record heat wave. The mythic Basilisk, a rooster with dragon's wings, eagle's beak, and lizard's tail, has been the symbol of the city since an earthquake in 1356 destroyed Basel. Another symbol of the city is the Münster Cathedral, located across the Rhine River from our hotel. But how to get there? One of the most fun forms of transportation here in Basel are these river boats. And if it's on the other side and you actually want to call it, you just ring this bell. This ferry uses no motor. It utilizes the force of the river. Oh, see, the wire goes. Oh. The wire causes water to flow across the rudder, and the boat is pushed across the river using the same physical phenomenon, causing lift on a plane's wings. A completely green source of energy. I asked our ferryman Pan Thurnisen about this. When there are ships in the river, we have to take a break so you can focus on that, right? Yeah, but otherwise, it's pretty easy to do.
Otherwise, it's pretty easy to do, but you have to be focused constantly because the ships can't brake or stop at all because they have to fit through the small holes in the bridge.
Boy, Pan wasn't kidding. Pan likes his job. His favorite part is meeting tourists from all over the world. A short walk from the ferry dock is the Kunst Museum, Basel's fine arts museum. The entrance features one of my favorite sculptures, Auguste Rodin's Burghers of Calais. The museum has a vast collection and is known for its Upper Rhinish and Flemish paintings, as well as drawings from 14 to 1600 and 19th to 21st century art. The most colorful work is by German painter Ernst Ludwig Kirchner, who moved to Switzerland and spent most of his life here. He paints typical Swiss countryside scenes in vibrant colors. There are many works here by Swiss artists as well, like this one. The Basler Münster red sandstone architecture and colored roof tiles make it a popular tourist attraction. It was built between 1019 and 1500 in Romanesque and Gothic styles, originally as a Catholic cathedral and today as a Reformed Protestant church. The building site was already in use in the late Celtic era in the 1st century BC as a pre-Roman rampart, Murus Gallicus. It suffered significant damage in the earthquake of 1356, destroying much of the Romanesque architecture. Jacobus Bernoulli is just one of the many famous people buried at the cathedral. You'll probably remember Bernoulli from calculus, and if you're an engineer like myself, Bernoulli's equations. The entire Bernoulli mathematician family is from this area, and he's literally buried right here. The force I talked about that took our ferry across the Rhine can be calculated using Bernoulli's equation. The back of the Munster offers unparalleled views of the city. I love these carved elephants. Their interesting look is not artistic license, but due to the fact locals had never seen an elephant. The fountain here is popular with kids on hot summer days, but adults from all strata of society, from busboy to businessman, can be found changing into their bathing suit to float home from work, putting their belongings in a waterproof fish-shaped bag known as a wicklefish, invented by artist Thilo Amels, who met with me. Thilo, we got here yesterday, amazingly hot, I understand unusually hot, and we came down for a swim. And the first thing we saw were all these people with bags floating down the river, and I understand you invented those bags. Can you tell me a little bit about them?
This is a bag you can use for swimming. You can put your stuff in it, and it keeps dry, and you can swim down the river, and then you can go out and you have your stuff, and that's it.
So I can take like my tank top here and my flip-flops and my cell phone and throw it in there, and it's going to stay dry?
Absolutely.
That's all the more invitation Tiffany and I needed to jump in for a swim. I think the most surprising thing is the multi-use of the river by both swimmers and transport ships, all in very close proximity. During our stay, we saw people floating down the river from first light until after sunset. There is a lot more to see and do in Basel. Go shopping in the Spallenberg district of Old Town, filled with quaint and colorful shops, a great place to find that perfect souvenir. Here you can pick out a traditional, mouth-blown Christmas ornament or something more recent. Even in July. You might even meet Basel's own Santa Claus.
Recognized as Father Christmas. Welcome to my Christmas house.
And see his Christmas museum. Also in Old Town, you can see how paper was made in ancient times utilizing water power from the water wheel to pulverize the wood into a pulp, then the straining of the paper before drying. The entire process, start to finish, of the Chinese invention that changed the world. Feel like a gladiator at Augusta Raurica, ancient Roman ruins near Basel. Learn how Romans lived in this touch and experience-friendly museum. Coming up, visit the ancient walled city of Chow Jie, China, known for its first-of-a-kind bridge and its world-renowned porcelain. Later, visit scenic southern Utah. Chow Jie sits in southern China, about a 3.5-hour drive from Guangzhou. This ancient walled city began in 2014 BCE as a remote military outpost during the Qin dynasty. The local Teochew dialect used today comes from this era and is one of the oldest in China. Chow Jie is one of the great cultural centers in China. They are known for their distinctive opera, cuisine, tea, embroidery, and even their lion dance, to name a few. This city has been a key producer of products for exports for more than 1,400 years. These products used in maritime trade became critical to China starting in 1127 during the Southern Song dynasty, after nomadic peoples took northern China. The Guangzhou Bridge crossing the Hanjing River was first built during the Song dynasty in 1170 CE. Interestingly, it was originally a floating bridge consisting of 86 huge boats connected together. 4 years later, after a flood tore the bridge apart, bridge piers were built. The Guangzhou Bridge is over 800 years old. It has a number of firsts in bridge technology, including this floating section that can be removed to allow very big ships to come through. It's the world's first bateau or boat bridge that can be opened to let ships through. There's an ancient Chinese saying, you cannot say you have visited Chow Jie until you have visited Guangzhou Bridge. Based on construction, history, and importance, the Guangzhou Bridge is of similar importance to China like the London Bridge is to Britain. And just like London Bridge, Guanji Bridge was also once a bustling center of commerce. A Chinese li is 500 meters or 547 yards. There's another ancient Chinese saying, in 1 li on the bridge, there is 1 li of businesses. There are still token businesses on this National Historic Landmark, including this ginger shop. To better understand, I have immersed myself and believe in trying everything.
How? Spicy.
Once. There's also a pottery shop. Chouzhou is world-renowned for its ceramics, especially porcelain. To learn more, my friend and interpreter Veronica Huang and I headed to the Chouzhou Kiln Museum, where curator Bin Yang Li offered to show us around. This museum documents Chouzhou's long ceramic history, including one piece more than 3,300 years old. The museum also includes examples of early pottery used in maritime trade, including the Blue Ming porcelain, for which China is probably best known. Colorful Chinese figurines featuring classic Chinese stories and characters including beautiful princesses are also found here. I asked Mr. Li what were the factors that made Chouzhou such a leader in ceramics.
So there are 3 major factors. The one is the local clay here is very good. And the second is the location of this city is by the sea, so it's very convenient to sell the porcelains abroad. And the third thing is the techniques of making porcelain here is very good too.
The most impressive for me is this life-sized procession of princes and princesses with their lifelike quality and exquisite detail, the pinnacle of porcelain artistry by any standard. Song-era kilns were famous for their shadowy blue glazes, and they made jade-colored celadon and other glazes. The key to the creation of porcelain is having a kiln hot enough. The Chinese solved this problem by creating a so-called dragon kiln, for which southern China is famous. Nearby, one of these ancient kilns still survives, the Song Kiln of Bajia Mountain. A dragon kiln is built on a steep mountainside with a 10 to 16 degree slope. These ancient kilns reach temperatures of 1400 degrees centigrade or 2500 degrees Fahrenheit. These kilns were as much as 135 meters or 440 feet long, firing as many as 25,000 ceramic pieces at once. It is easy to see where these kilns get their names. When lit, the roar of the fire and the bright orange glow stretching up the mountainsides would surely have seemed like a giant fire-breathing dragon. The high temperatures produced by dragon kilns allowed stoneware and porcelain to be made. The quality of the ceramics often had to do with where in the kiln they were placed. The highest quality was found at the top of the kiln that heated up more slowly than the bottom. From 1953 to 1986, 10 kilns were excavated here. Amazingly, this kiln was owned by a single family.
How does this compare to the other kilns? Is this larger or smaller or the same size?
The Song dynasty moved porcelain production to seaports to allow for easier export, and Chouzhou became the most important ceramic center in southeastern China during the Song dynasty.
It has the largest scale, not only on this mountain, but in the whole China.
This is the largest kiln in China at that time. Wow.
As we were leaving, Mr. Li spotted something on the ground.
这个切片就是这个地方生产的产品。
This is the porcelain that was produced from here.
Oh, so this was from the Song dynasty?
这是宋朝。
对，这个是宋代的青白釉的瓷器。
You can still see the pattern there.
And are these both porcelain? Because that doesn't look like porcelain.
For burning the porcelain.
Oh, so when they fire the porcelain in the kiln, that's something that they place it on?
Yes.
Fascinating. Really cool.
对啊，好棒。
Speaking to their popularity, Chouzhou ceramics from the Song dynasty have been found throughout Japan and Southeast Asia. Currently, this kiln site is being developed into a national archaeological park to preserve and educate visitors as well as carry out continued research. Coming up, explore southern Utah with its unique souvenirs, slot canyons, and coral pink sand dunes. Kanab sits in southern Utah, and fall is one of the best times to visit with great weather and few other visitors. The small town of Kanab is surrounded by scenic red cliffs. These cliffs attracted filmmakers first in 1924 and became the primary locations during the golden age of westerns in the 1940s and 50s. Perry Lodge housed these film crews and movie stars, and their pictures still cover the walls in the entrance and throughout the hotel. These include stars like John Wayne, Jimmy Stewart, and many more. It gets hot in summer, and initially there was no pool. So either Frank Sinatra or John Wayne, no one remembers which, paid to have one put in. On the property sits the Old Barn Playhouse, where these classic films are shown nightly. The day broke without a cloud in the sky, and we started at the Kanab Creek Bakery. My day doesn't start until I have a latte, and the pastries are wonderful. It attracts locals and tourists from around the world. The bakery even uses an imported French brick oven, like in Europe. But for my main course, I have this delicious wet burrito. Across the street is Little Hollywood, where some of the original sets from the classic films shot here are preserved. Here you can buy souvenirs, including some made nearby at Western Hills Rock Shop, where I met owner Ken Brown. Ken, we're here at Western Hills Rock Shop, and it's known for its sandstone, right?
It is.
Can you tell me a little bit about it?
Well, we have 3 different types of sandstone, all of them found locally here, so they make a great souvenir for people that want to take something home from the area. This one is we call golden stone because of the brown gold colors.
It's beautiful.
This one we call Sierra, which is a heat-treated material that gives us this orange oxidized iron look.
And that's a natural heat. You don't do that heat,
We,
do you?
actually, we do.
Oh,
We
okay.
do.
And the reds come from iron oxide?
Iron oxides, as they oxidize, they turn yellow and orange and red. So,
Fantastic. It's beautiful.
It
And
is.
what's the third one?
well, the thing that makes us the most famous is here in Kanab we have a very unique sandstone found only in Kanab, found no other place in the world, and that is what we call the Wonderstone.
It's spectacular.
We call it Kanab Wonderstone because we named it after Kanab, its unique origin.
And where do the colors come from? Like the green, I'm not used to seeing that kind of green and brown and all that.
Well, nobody was here to see when it was produced.
Oh.
It's about 220 million years old. In the water source that stained the sandstone, it contained the iron oxides that had these unique colors in it.
Wow, it's spectacular. I mean, it looks like someone painted that. It doesn't look like something you would just get straight out of stone and then cut.
Accused of that all the time. Always accused of being the artist, but nature is the artist. We coined the phrase nature's most beautiful paintings because we've never seen anything like it anywhere else in the world.
Well, they're spectacular, and I really appreciate you showing me them.
Thank you.
Now I departed with guide Brent Johnson of Forever Adventure Tours to hike into Peekaboo Canyon. This is a slot canyon, and the entire region is known for these slot canyons. The most famous of these is Antelope Canyon, and is less than an hour's drive from Kanab. But Antelope Canyon is always filled with a crowd of visitors, where we had Peekaboo Canyon to ourselves. The allure of these canyons is difficult to explain, but is universal. Their distinctive light of various and changing shades of reds, oranges, and yellows, along with the undulating walls, combined with muted sounds, made these slots seem naturally sacred, eternal. One finds themselves lowering their voice and even speaking less, if at all. When it rains, the lack of water retaining soil and plants added to a steep terrain causes dirt and debris to form an abrasive sludge that scours out these deep, thin slots. Although rare, this is a violent event that has claimed a number of lives. If you are not going on a guided tour, be sure to always check weather conditions before setting out, and remember flash floods can happen miles away from where the rain actually falls. Brent points out 2 trees. The higher one was washed into its current location 2 years ago, but the other has been here his whole life. Due to the extremely dry climate, trees take decades and sometimes centuries to decompose. Taking a tour is the best way not to get stuck in the deep sand dirt access road. Stay safe and learn all about these fascinating slot canyons. A short drive out of Kanab is the Coral Pink Sand Dunes State Park. The distinctive color of these dunes comes from the erosion of the scenic sandstone cliffs that are every direction you look here. This is a great place for a hike, and part of the state park is open to all-terrain vehicles, ATVs, for tours, fun, and excitement. I set out with Kobe and Tiffany Curtis of Coral Pink ATV Tours for their Sunset Cruise. They offer a variety of tours, including ones where you drive your own ATV. After a day of adventure, the Rocking V offers fine dining in a friendly atmosphere. And thankfully we were hungry since the starter soup or salad are a meal unto themselves. Owner Victor Cooper took time to tell me more.
Victor, amazing restaurant here. And
thank you very much.
I had the buffalo, which was fantastic, melt in your mouth.
Oh, good. I enjoyed it.
Tell me a little bit about your theory on the restaurant and how it came about.
Well, it came about because I traveled a lot in the rural West and particularly in southern Utah, and just, all the food was the same, and wanted to have a restaurant that I wanted to eat at, and so did it kind of backwards.
I'm not sure how we did it, but we even had room for this excellent dessert.
Thanks for joining us this week, and I hope you'll join me next time as we discover travel's best secrets here on Weekend Explore. Yeah!